So we're going to do Ois Daled, and the Alter Rebbe is going to continue to explain that a Yid, when he does the mitzvah, basically, or he learns Torah, he basically makes the physical items that he is using, he makes them into a mitzvah. So before, you don't have any special force of the Ein Sof, of the infinite of Hashem, in the mitzvah. It's just a physical thing. When you take a physical thing and you make it into a mitzvah, so then you actually transformed it and you brought down Ein Sof into it. And he's going to say that we have two levels over here. One level is to bring down from the level of Shmoy HaGodl. We said two levels of Chosun, two levels of Kala. A Kala, we learned the level of, we learned earlier, total Mesiras Nefesh, Bittul B'Metzias, Yichudei Eloh. That's a high level of totally subjugation. That's the level of Kala, Kolso. Kolso Nafshi, your soul expired. The other level is Yichudei Tato, is the level of Baruch Shem Kvod B'chol Levavcha versus Shema Yisrael Hashem Echad. So what we talked about before of the Shmoy HaGodl, he says Kol Zeh Hu B'chinas Choson Ha'alef. That's the first descent. We have the descent from the Ein Sof into Chochma and Bina of Atzilus. That's the level of Chosun, the first level, Chus Darga, which means one level of Chosun, bringing down. Hamshochas Ein Sof Li'islabish B'Torah. That is the bringing down of the Ein Sof to dress up in the level of Torah, which is bringing down. Torah is Hashem's wisdom. That's the Chochma Ilah. Bringing down the Ein Sof from Keser, from higher than Hishtalshlus, into Hishtalshlus, into Chochma Ilah, which is Chakim V'loi B'Chochma Yediyah. That's a higher level of Chochma, not the Chochma that we have a knowledge. And then you have the second level of Chosun, who when you already have the Chochma in Torah already, in other words, you already have the higher than Hishtalshlus in the level of Chochma of Atzilus. And then we want sheyehei nimshach gam lemata b'biyah, that it should also come down below into Bria Yitzira Asiyah. First chosun is to bring it from higher than Ishtalshlus to Chochma and Bina. The second is to bring it from Chochma Bina into Biyah. As he says, it should be, the Pasuk says, Vayokom Eidus b'Yakov v'Soiro Som b'Yisrael. To bring this testimony, the Torah, the mitzvahs, to Yaakov, and the Torah to give to Yisrael. Which is that the revelation of the Ein Sof below in Biyah should be just like it's in Atzilus, just like the Torah, the Chochma in the level of Chakim, the level of Chochma Law. Over there, there's the Hamshacha, the Ein Sof. So also below in our world should be like L'mayla. B'yehi nimshach gam lemato oinega elyon b'Torah mitzvahs debiyah. So that also that supreme delight, the level of Tainug, which is the level of Keser, which is the higher level, that comes to Chochma Ilah, should also come in our Torah mitzvahs that we learn in Bri Yitzira Asiyah. We should get that level of Einik. And this is what our sages of blessed memory said. Alpayim Shona, they say Kodmo Torah Loilam. Alpayim Shona Koidem Shenivra Ha'olam. 2,000 before the world was created. Kodma HaTorah, the Torah came before. Alpayim Shona, 2,000 years before the Torah, before the world was created, there was already Torah. Basically, the world was created, that's talking about Bri Yitzir Asiyah. That's the Torah that we have. Before the Torah that we have, the Torah was already 2,000 years. What does it mean, 2,000? Alpayim doesn't, in this context, it means Alefcha Chochma, Alefcha Bina. That means I teach you Chochma Bina. Basically, that it means that the Torah was already in the level of Chochma Ilah, in the level of Chakim Lev Chochma Yediyah, before it comes down into our world. Shemitchila Hamshocha Rishoina the Torah, the first Hamshocha of Torah him Shmei Hagadol comes from Shmei Hagadol, the Chochma Bina comes in the level of Chochma Bina. Bezo Bechinas Chosan Aleph, Chos Aleph, Chosan. That's a level of Chosan which is Chos Aleph bringing down. Again, we're talking about a Chosan Nakala, physically a man and a woman. We're talking about the Yichud. We're talking about the together the Hamshocha that comes from the Chosan, which is the first Hamshocha from the Chosan, in this case, coming down into the level of Chochma Ilah. Then you have this second level of Chosan, the level in which that is what it comes down from the Kodma Lo'ilam to come down into the world, Ubchinas Hamidis the Zoh, which is the Midas the Zoh. V'ayim Mashikos V'dir Mascha Shumayim Kisi B'bir HaPosik Lidashti B'Serif B'nei Yisrael B'Parshas Emer U'B'dir HaMascha V'Oyer Avon Chulu B'Parshas Sav U'B'bir HaPosik Shesos Gam Kichosn Yifayr Pe'er. Dahainu Mashenim Shechat Torah L'Matu B'Biyah. That is what the Torah that it comes down in Biyah. That is the level. That's the second level of Chosen coming down into Biyah. V'zeu, and this is meaning Asher Kiddishonu B'Mitzvayso. Asher means also Osher. Asher. So the level of Asher, the level of Osher, the level of delight, the level of Tainug, we get through the mitzvahs. Asher hu oineg ha'elyon. Asher, that's oineg elyon. Nimshach b'mitzvahs Torah. It says Asher Kiddishonu b'mitzvahs. It comes in mitzvahs and Torah. So even though it only says Asher Kiddishonu b'mitzvahs, that through the mitzvahs we get the level of Asher, but really that also applies to the level of Torah. Why? Ki ha-Torah eino rak birush u'biur hamitzvahs. What is Torah? Torah is only the explanation of mitzvahs. Basically, that it means that if we say that mitzvahs are a level of Tainug, Asher Kiddishonu b'mitzvahs, the same thing is with Torah, because Torah is the only an explanation of the mitzvahs. Ki ha-Torah eina rak pirush u'biur ha-mitzvahs. And you will see by mitzvahs, we say that the person, the Yid, makes up the mitzvah, and then v'chai b'hem, he gets the level of chayis, the level of tainug, the level of osher. So he says, so therefore, but the point he's saying here is, Asher Kiddishonu b'mitzvahs, and that also comes to Torah. V'hinei b'mitzvahs nemar. What does it say by mitzvahs? It says, Asher yaseh oisom ha'adam v'chai b'hem. Man does the mitzvahs and he lives by them. The Pashto Pshat means what? The Pashto Pshat means you do the mitzvahs and you should live by the mitzvahs. We learn from this, a person has to do mitzvahs but not die. But here he says, if you see, it says Yasa Oisom Ha'odam. The man does that. But here he teaches Yasa Oisom Ha'odam. The man makes the mitzvah. And once the man makes the mitzvah, the person, the yid makes the mitzvah, then v'chai b'hem, then he lives with that. What does it mean that one man makes the mitzvahs? The man makes the mitzvah, meaning he brings down the energy into the mitzvah. Because before, into the mitzvah means the person makes that gashmisdik thing into a mitzvah. Without the person, that physical matter that you do the mitzvah is garnished. It's not a mitzvah. The person makes them that they become a mitzvah. The pasuk says also vasisem oisam, but it says you shall do them, meaning the person should do the mitzvahs. But the word oisam is written without a vav, atem ksiv, meaning asisem atem, you make them into a mitzvah. Who makes the mitzvahs? The yid, by doing them, makes them to a mitzvah. And so first you make them to a mitzvah. Then you get to live. Once you make it into a mitzvah, you get your energy. That he receives from them chayis. And you're doing mitzvahs with physical matter, with gashmis, and then you get your energy through this gashmis. Since you are getting your energy from the gashmis dikah thing, that means you're getting it from a place which is higher than the person. Explains. All mitzvahs are physical matters. You have an esrog, and you have a sukkah, and you have tzitzis, and same thing is with korbanos, the sacrifices you bring, min ha-behemer from the animal, min ha-bokar from the cattle, the tzoyin, the sheep. So, what are these gashmis, the sheep and everything else? So he says, in this case, when we have the animals, where is the root of the behema? The root of the behema comes from the level of toyu, which is lifnei melech lebnei Yisrael chulu, as we see in the pasuk over there when it says the malachim of Esau, they came before there's a melech lebnei Yisrael, meaning they came from a higher place, toyu higher than bnei Yisrael, lemailo mibchinas odom, higher than the level of odom. Odom is the level of Atzilus, the level of Ma, level of Bit, that's the level of Odom. But the animal kingdom, they come from Tohu. Razal, as our sages of blessed memory tell us, Afilu Yitosh Kodmach, even a mosquito comes before a human being. So what happens? Elo Shenofal Lamata Bishvira. That fell down, the yitush, the animal, the behemoths, they fell down through the level of shvira. There was the breaking of the vessel in the olam hatoyu, so it came down into the world. Those parts that were able to be sorted out and included in kedusha, then from that were the angels created. Gabriel. They're also called animals, but they're animals, they are from the level of Toyu that was able to be sorted out and be able to be elevated. That's the level of the angels. And that which was not able to be sorted out is that nofal lamata mato, that fell below. Ad to the extent that in our world of doing, over there we have animals and wild animals, gashmi. And everything which happens under the sun in this world, it's all from the oil matoyu that broke and came down the sparks into the gashmis. So what is the person? We're saying, Yasa oisam ha'odom v'chai bahem. he gets chayis from them, from these gashmis thing, because the person elevates, takes these gashmis items that are energized by the toihu, by the shvira that has fallen down over there. And the person who is Adam is 45, Aleph Dalet Mem, which is the Shem Ma, that's the name of Yudke Vovke, which spells out the letters Ma, which is the level called in Pchinas Hatikum. Pchinas Chochma, that's the level Ma, the level Chochma, Koyach Ma, the level of Chochma, level of Bittel. So through the person, Shemaylo Umakriv Korbonis Al Gabe HaMizbeach, he brings the Korbonis onto the Mizbeach. Talking about first about the Korbonis over here. So the person takes these animals that come from the sparks, from the Shviras HaKelim of Toyu. Hine, as the Pasuk says, Zois Toiras HaBehema. So now this becomes the Torah, the teaching of the animal. So she, when the person elevates it, you bring it on the Mizbeach, that korban goes up to its source and root, which is an olam hatoyu, which is l'mayla mebchinas adam, higher than the person, to the extent ad v'chay bohem, so adam hu mekabel chayis mehem, the person receives the chayis from them. He gets energized and he lives off of this animal, and he gets his chayis and v'chay bohem through their elevation. So this is by a korban. Similar is all mitzvahs. Shetzitzis, because you have shetzitzis hu mitzemer gashmi. Tzitzis comes from physical wool. Utfilin miklaf, and tefillin comes from parchment. Ugamkin al derech, it's also in a similar way. In a similar way, just like we are the ones that elevate the korban, we make it into a mitzvah of a korban. Same thing happens with all the mitzvahs. It's similar. Shalamato hine ha'odom hu ha'oisa oisum liyas mitzvah. What makes them into a mitzvah? What makes this physical wool? What makes the physical parchment? They're just physical stuff. If a person who uses them to make tzitzis, make a mitzvah, he makes them into a mitzvah. He makes these physical items that they become a mitzvah. Which means he brings down the Ein Sof into this physical matter. You had a piece of wool, and now that piece of wool has Ein Sof. Because why? Because you use that wool for making tzitzis. So this is the Torah in this world. The Yid has to make it into a mitzvah. But when we talk about the mitzvahs above, not in Biyah, not the Yid's mitzvah, but the mitzvahs the way they are, in the Milas HaMitzvahs, Hagba U'Ma'od Naila, the level of the mitzvahs is very high and very elevated. Kitariyag mitzvahs, because if you take the 630 mitzvahs of the Torah and Shiva the Rabbanon and the 7 of Rabbanon equals 620, which is Keser. And the Keser is Top Reish Chof Amudim. Those are the 620 pillars. The pillars, a pillar is what holds the roof, connects the roof with the floor. So that is the mitzvahs, are the pillars of the Keser that brings down Kemoy HaAmud Shemachaber Mailo Umato. That's like the post that connects the top and the bottom together. So to begin with, the person is Ocher. He's the back. He's the last thing of Ma'aseh Bereshis. Yitush Kodmach. The Yitush comes before you. But then, V'kedem Tzartoni, the level of mitzvahs which comes from the level of Keser, that gets from the higher level. V'hinei, Hamshochas Beis Chasanim Anal. So bringing down these two levels of chosn. Liyes chus darge, to be to lower the level. Why they bechinas base bechinas kala. That comes through the two level of kala. We learned before. We have the bittul b'mitzias, the Hashem echad, and then we have a b'chol levavcha. These are two. So these are two levels of kala. Total bittul, because why does it come to the kala? Because it says the sameach choson im hakala, that the choson is rejoiced with the kala. In other words, that the kala is the one that brings down the choson. So you need the kala. It all happens through Mesameach Chosim HaKala. Kimibchinas Kala Aleph, from the first level of Kala, Shiv Michinas Mesiras Nefesh Vikiloyin, the word of Kol Son Nafshi. That's the level of first Kala. Mechina Kala, that is Michinas Mesiras Nefesh Vikiloyin, the level of self-sacrifice and expiring. So that Goyim Misarusa de Leila, that brings the first arousal from below, which is Hamshachas Oirin Sof Shmoi Hagodl, Lislabish B'Toira Chochmei Law, that to come into the Toira Chochmei Law from Shmoi Hagodl, and Chochmah Ma'ayin. Chochmah comes from the level of Ayin, comes from higher than Ishtalshlus into the level of Chochmah. That's the first level of Kolso through the person's level of Bittul B'Mitzias. Chinas Hakala Habeis. And from the second level of Kolso Nafshi means expiring. So I said before the post, Kolso Nafshi is different. They said before, when the person totally expired, the level of Kolso Nafshi, which is B'chinas Yesh Mi She'oyer. He's still an entity. He's not totally. That's the second level of Cholavavcha, Kinal. So Nimshach Hamshochas Chochma Ilah. The Islamish Gambit to the mitzvahs to be out. Then the level of Chochmah Law dresses up also in Torah mitzvahs of the Riyad Shir Hashirim. Bayim Hashekosu b'divra hamaschil levaftani achesikal. Lochein. That's why Acharva have to b'chol nafshecho, after the pasuk b'chol nafshecho, and the person has to reach the level of kol so nafshi. And he brings down the level of the Ein Sof in Torah mitzvahs. Yeah, Ksiv, the pasuk says, "V'hoyu advorim ha'ela asher anoichi chulu." When you say anoichi, is misha anoichi. Anoichi means whoever I am, I, meaning the level of atzvus without being a described name. Chulu. And then with the Bartabom. So after you bring down the Ein Sof also in the through the level of Kala, through the level of Havdom Chol Nafshecha, then the Torah that you learn, you bring down the level of Anoichi. Uke'inyan, because you've brought down the Ein Sof. Uke'inyan, similar, we say, Ani ha-Mishnah ha-Medaberes b'ficha. It's I, the Mishnah, is speaking in your mouth, which means it's not the rabbi teaching you. It's Hashem's words coming through the rabbi's teaching. My words in your mouth. Why? Because you brought down the Ein Sof into Torah. So therefore now it's the word of Hashem. So in the pasuk it says, which means maskil. The level of Chochmah comes through the Eisonim, le'eison. Pirush Eison, that's Eisonim hein Tanoim. That is the level of the Tanoim that bring down the level of Chochmah. Shebelimud HaTorah, mamshech b'chinas maskil. The level is maskil is to le'eison. Shel Chochmah ilah. And that's the level of Chochmah ilah. Liyes nimshach lamato la'olam al yidei b'chinas chesed. You bring down the level of Chochmah through the level of Chesed. That's the level of Hamshocha. As the pasuk says, Maskil Eison Ezrochi. Chazdei Hashem Oilo Shir. The Hamshach of the pasuk there. Shenimshach la'olam b'chinas shir v'tainu. So you bring it down through the kind of Hashem. You bring down the level of shir v'tainu. As we said before, the Nono de Eraisa That's the song of Torah. That's why it's Oshira. And this is the dwelling place b'tachtonim, to bring down the level of Shir and Tainuk, the level of Kesed, the level of Tainuk, as it comes through Chochmah, comes through Chesed into the world, into the Torah. That's the dir b'tachtonim. How do we get the level of Chosun? We have to make a chuppah first. V'nikedeshi is galus b'chinas Chosun. Tzarich liya is tchila b'chinas chuppah makif. First, we need a canopy. We need the makif, which means hamshochas sevim kol almin. In order to bring it down in a pnimius, we need to first be through the level of chokhmah, which is sevim kol almin. V'achakach nimshach is galus b'chinas pnimis, which is chosun. Then it comes, the chosun is the inner. First we have the chuppah, and then we have the chosun. I covered you in the shadow of my hand. That's the chuppah, b'chinas chuppah. And we say, how could you get the mitzalis chasonim? The level of renon of Torah that comes into biyah, it comes first from the chuppah, comes from the canopy. By mashakosu be in chuppah, b'divrei hamaschil ki akol kveit chuppah, ub'divrei hamaschil Torah tziva chulu ba'aposik l'susosi b'rich be'parei ub'divrei hamaschil. So finally, the pasuk says, "Shir Hashirim לשלמה, ישרקני מנשיקos piyu." He says, "Ki toivim doidecha miyayin." Your love, doidecha, your reach out to me is better than wine. What is wine? Why is this better than wine? He's going to explain first what wine is. That wine is the hidden. Yayin ha-meshumor, mesheshis mebreis, that's things that are hidden. And this, the love of Hashem is even better than yayin. Hine. Omer Azal, our sages tell us, this is in the Gemara in various places, it says like this, and the Pasuk says, Ayin lo yiraso, that nobody has seen, Zayayin ha-meshumor ba'nova mesheshis mebreis, the wine that is guarded in the grapes from the 6 days of creation. When the Sudas of Livyosan and the benching, they're going to use the kois of yayin, they're not going to use a regular wine. They're going to use this wine that was guarded in the grapes from the time of 6 generations. That's going to be freshly squeezed wine without any sediments. It's going to be the most beautiful wine that they're going to make the Birchas Hamozin at that Suda with Mashiach. So what does it mean, the wine that is kept in the grapes is made precious? Because of Tiroshi Hamsameich Elikim, it also says the wine Hamsameich Elikim Ba'anoshim. Pasuk says wine makes Elikim happy. How does wine? What does it mean that wine makes Elikim happy? Mekan she'einem shir elayayin. You need to say song because it says Sameich Elikim is Tiroshi. Why? So you have wine, then you say the song. So what does all this mean? It's going to explain that what wine does, it brings out what's hidden inside to the outside. When we do, happiness comes when you discover and you bring out that which has been hidden, just like the wine that is hidden in the grapes. Means it's a tremendous gilu, which brings, when you bring something out that was really there, but it was hidden, and you bring it out to the open, that brings about a tremendous simcha. But the idea is, wine is absorbed in the grapes, and it comes out from the hidden. The wine is in the grape, and it comes out openly. And that's why wine comes out, the secret comes out. Just like the wine comes out of the grape, so comes out the secret from the person, from the eye. And wine rejoices. Why? That means the rejoicing is to take it out things from obscurity and bring it into revelation. Any item that was first hidden and obscured, So the revelation later on is with more force. There's nothing that it comes out in the open that first wasn't there in a way of hidden. Say, for example, a baby was first in the mother's stomach. It was hidden and then it comes out. And likewise the sowing. First the garin, the seed, the pit, is hidden and covered and has to rot in the sand before it can start to grow. The more that it's hidden and rots in the ground, so later, much greater grows the grain later on with additional much and a lot of blessing. This is really the secret. All of our exiles, we're in a level of hidden, covered. Why? We don't see miracles. So why did we need golus? Since by Matan Torah they needed to be such a great gilui, so therefore the Kabul had Torah Niglis. Over there we had to be Matan Torah to receive this revealed Torah. So therefore, Hoyodai behelem v'golus redushon tchila. Over there was sufficient to be 210 years. The redu shamot 210 years in golus before they're going to get the revelation of Matan Torah. But because nowadays, arichas hagolus, we have such a long golus who lefi shel osid lovoi is galep nimius v'taim Torah, because in the future we're going to get much greater giluyim than even was by Matan Torah. We're going to get the inner and the reasons of Torah. So we have such a long golus because we have to be more buried, more to be able to get the higher gilu. I am Ashekosuf. The Parshas Va'era Soiv Dibra Maschil Vaydaber Elikim El Moshe. So Inyan Yayin Am Samech Elikim. So now we understand the idea of Samech Elikim. Elikim Hu B'chinas HaHester V'Helem. Elikim is the level of block and obscure. Elikim blocks Hashem. Moshe Kosuf. Pasuk says Ki Shemesh Umogen Hashem Elikim. That like a sun and a seed is Hashem with Elikim. Shebechinas Hashem Elikim ubechinas mogen v'nartik lahalim ulahastim. The name of Elikim is like a seed and a shield to block and obscure. So the word appears to be an entity, an item by itself. So and when it goes out from the hidden to revelation, that it's not really blocking, then there will be a great simcha to Elikim. No more hiding, there's no more cover. The wine comes in, the secret comes out. What is soid havai l'irei? And that's the secret of Hashem to those who fear Him, that you will be able to see the gilu elikus, you'll be able to see godliness. So this wine that is been guarded in the grapes, that's a tremendous hella. It's been hidden there all the time from the 6 days of creation. That wine is in the grapes. Now the revelation that's going to come, once you bring it down, it's going to be in a level of Ein Sof. Ayin Lerosa. It's going to be in a way that nobody can. Ayin Lerosa Lakim. This is the Yayin HaMeshumar. V'ayin Yayin HaMeshumar v'Ibanov v'Sheshis v'Mebreshis v'Divra Maschil in Yibrichs HaZimun v'Sofer. So, but this is not yet the ultimate. Achine kol zehu b'chinas Ishtalshlus, Helen Vigilu, Chinas Yainchu. This is still Ishtalshlus, hidden and revealed. It's in the grapes, Nichnas Yain Yotzesoid. Aval Doidecha, Toivim Doidecha Miyai. Level of Doidecha. Leiberster's love Shulamai, Lomina Ishtalshlus. That is higher than Ishtalshlus, Lamai, Logam. It's even higher than the Helam. Here's it's Manova, it's higher than Manova. The Mila Mechinasevim. It's higher than Sevim. Ke'ein Aroich. Because there is no comparison. Kodesh Umuvdal. It is, he's holy and separated with Kamei Kachashech Koyer. Before Hashem, darkness is like light. Pirush. Ki Kshenem Shach Ha'elim Regilui. Over here, when the Helam comes open, then below, we consider it like one goes from darkness to light. That's what the Helam becomes revealed. Helam, when the light was in a level of Helam, it was the darkness covered. That was the beginning. They saw this great light through the Gilui. And therefore, so Elikim gets a great simcha, now it's revealed. So this is all with the name of Elikim. In revelation and light and revelation is the same as darkness. Shemitchila, that was in the beginning. It was never dark for the Eibishter, for that level. It wasn't dark. It's only dark relative to Sevim Mali, but this is higher. It's not even dark. The Chol, Nahayron, Mischashon, Kamei, everything that light before Hashem is dark. The Keser Elyon, as we say, this expression is that the Keser Elyon, the supreme Keser, Afagavdiu, Tzach, Tzachom, Tzach, even though it's a very fine and refined light, Uchma Ihu, it's still considered dark next to Hashem. That's the revelation when the Mehusu Atzmus, Harim Shechaldei Torah Mitzvahs, the Atzmus that comes through Torah Mitzvahs, which is the Bechinas of Shir Hashirim, the Song of Songs, is Galus Shmei HaGodel. When the Shmei HaGodel is revealed, then Hine Toivim Miyayin, that's Toivim the Decham Miyayin at a higher level. Ba'im HaShekos B'divra Maschel Matzah Zuchulu, U'B'divra Maschel U'Shavta Mayim B'Sosim B'Inyan, Arevim Olai Divrei Soifrim Yoser, Miyayna Shel Torah, Ba'im HaShekos B'divra Maschel, Oshiro LaHashem Ki Goy Goy, B'Pirush Adon HaNiflois, U'B'Pirush Ki Goy Goy, Chulu, U'Mashekosov Divra Maschil ad Leyado ben Oror Homo Lebaruch Mordechai bePirush veInyan Moshel HaKadmoini Kadmoini Shel Olam and V'ayin Oid Meyin Ki Toivim Deidecha B'Rabbeis Shir Hashirim V'Parshas Nosei Parsha Yudaled veInyan B'Yem HaShvi Nosi Zer Chelik Beis Yud Beis and Tzadik Daled Beis and Tzadik Hey Aleph and Kuf Gimel Aleph Uminyan Yishakeni also in Berabis Shir Hashirim Beparsha Kisiso Perik Mem Aleph Zer Chelik Aleph in Mendalet Beis and Ayin Omad Aleph Zayin Omad Aleph and Chelik Beis it's in Kuf Chof Dal page Kuf Chof Dal Beis and Kuf Chof Beis and Kuf Mem Zayin Beis and Reish Mem Vav Beis and Chelik Gimel Reish Beis Zayin Aleph. These are all various different kinds of references and sources. You know, today you look everything up, but it's some sort of a job to go ahead and look everything up. Okay, so we'll leave it over here today. And Mitzvah Hashem, we'll see everybody, Bez Hashem, tomorrow.